And anyway, the sort of the bloke came over from Ireland, and he was like, the vicar de Quincy de Lingdy Blondy Blondy. And anyway, the whole place was full, and he started sort of basically having a go at the English, And I just thought, I'm not listening to this stuff in the church. And I just went, you're talking bollocks like that. It was completely volcanic. I started swearing at him really loud. Anyway, they got sort of thrown out of the church, and it was that sort of thing. Whereas now, for instance, if someone was in the church talking, I would just sort of think, I'll just wait till the Bach comes on at the end, and just sort of, So, I mean, that's another great incarnation, by the way. So I think Christ's idea was, look, the churches have sort of taken his kind of original teaching and sort of made a bit of a mess of it, but a lot of good stuff did come through. But rather than go back and fight with everybody about it, his idea was, okay, I'll go into the church and I'll create some amazing music so people get the feeling there is a God, but it's coming from the organ. So Bach was an incarnation of John the Baptist and that. So
that's cool.
So when you hear Bach, it's actually beyond our understanding. It's so advanced and sort of extraordinary. So yeah, if you're just listing incarnation, it's Bach, Mozart, Schubert. That's all one character. But obviously, each incarnation come back, you're slightly different because you've got different parents, you've got different upbringing and stuff. But it's that incredible talent. I mean,
what is it about that music? Because I remember having a little conversation with you and Nadia about how like Bach is the closest thing to God that you can hear in music. But what is that? Like, how does it resonate in that way?
Well, okay, all there is at a quantum level is multidimensional vibrating energy. Okay, so if you start manipulating that vibrational energy, it's the best description really of what heaven's like, if you know what I mean. Because it's like, if you listen to Bach, well, you know what I mean. If you listen to basically in music, like the fundamental tone is like representative of God. So like the bass note is kind of like, well, even in Indian music, well, I don't mean even in Indian music, you just get the tone and then you get a scale on top of it, like the raga. And but it's almost like the bass tone represents universal consciousness, and then it's our relationship and our resolution to the eternal, to the tonic, to the bass note, which is like creating the great music, And obviously then you start moving the tonic around and all sorts of things. But so when you listen to Bach, what he's doing is he's clashing with the fundamentals and then resolving them. So he always ends in the major, because the major chord is like all the atoms are vibrating in harmony. But a minor chord, if you work with rock
like all
musicians,
the distance that he allows to permeate.
Because everything in a major chord is on the harmonic series right the way up. So it's all vibrating in harmony. But when you play a minor chord, the reason why it sounds sad is because that note there's a clash there. So when you speak to rock musicians who can't read music or something, they'll sort of go, oh, I want a sad E, I want happy E and happy E, sad E. Well, that just means minor, but it's sad because it's not resonated. There's a clash in the harmonics, so like you're sort of resolving them into the. So someone like Bach, it's really weird if being a musician trying to understand Bach, because you literally can't. It's just so. He just does these turns you're not expecting, and then it turns again, and it's like a sort of kaleidoscope of harmonies and stuff, and it's unbelievable.
It speaks to like the complexity of existence when you think of like all the different pedals and all the different chords and all the things that are happening at the same time at the organ. And he was able to like see all that, or at least guide it. And I think to me, it speaks to the complexity of just living in that, like, the more you think, maybe when you're young, but you think like you figured everything out and you know how everything's going to work. And then the older you get and the more you learn, the more you think like, wow, I don't really know anything of how it works. I have hints and there's whispers of everything, but there's so much that can be comprehended, but it feels different when you're at a higher vibration of something.
Well, I've heard so many people say they go into a church and they hear the Bible and they're not really sure, exactly what it means, but they say, then you hear Bach and you think, oh yeah, there is a God sort of thing, So I think that was his idea. I think that was his idea, rather than being in conflict with the church, because you got to remember, he's is the sort of prince of the light. I mean, and highly intelligent and highly original. The idea of coming back and, you know, you see these people on the net who think they're Jesus and Mary Magdalene and all that sort of stuff.